Hey crypto friends, for those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Garrett and I am a crypto day trader whose overall goal here with my channel is to simply help other traders in the most simplistic ways as possible. So in today's educational video, if you are a day trader or you're trying to be a day trader and you struggle with knowing where to take profits in the crypto market, I'm going to show you a couple methods that I personally use to help me decide where to take profits. And for those of you who love trading crypto and would like to try out the same crypto exchange that I use on a daily basis, feel free to go ahead and try out the Blowfin exchange here with the link in the video description down below this video. I personally love this exchange because they allow anybody from anywhere to be able to sign up and trade crypto futures. So if you are one of those people and you want to trade crypto futures, you can do it right here on the Blowfin exchange. All right, guys, so first and foremost, before anything here, before we actually dive into this video, with day trading, you typically want to be in and out of trades before you go to bed at night. But the problem is, many people who try to day trade always end up running into issues with greed and don't have a set plan on where to take profits on their trades. So because of this, and because I love helping people, I'm going to share with you guys the two most common ways that I personally go about taking profits on my own trades. And for the sake of this video, we're going to be using the 1 hour charts, but you can use just about any time frame as long as it adheres to being able to get in and out before you go to bed at night. So I'd say realistically anything from the 4 hour charts and below, all right? And even the 4 hour chart, that's kind of a little bit pushing it, all right? But as far as the overall methods here for taking profits, what I'm going to be talking about here are going to be 1, support and resistance levels, and 2, taking profit after you reach a specified profit percentage, all right? So the first thing I'm going to talk about here is support and resistance levels, all right? I use support and resistance levels to for my entries and for my exits and when I take profit, all right? Now, when I'm talking about support and resistance levels, there's all kinds of different ways you can use to find support and resistance levels, all right? There is no black and white book out there telling you that, support and resistance levels have to be done a certain way, all right? It's just a matter of where the most common support and the most common resistance levels are actually at on the charts themselves, all right? Now, some people use Fibonacci levels, some people use EMAs for dynamic support and resistance, some people just use regular plain old horizontal support and resistance levels that they place on the chart themselves, okay? Now, as you guys can clearly see on my 1 hour chart here on Solana, I have got the Fibonacci levels open right now. So as you guys can clearly see, I've started the top of it right up at the top of this big swing that we had right down here, and the bottom of it at the bottom of the swing that we've got right here. And as you guys can clearly tell just by back testing and looking at price action, you can clearly tell that price tends to follow these various levels pretty darn closely. As you guys can tell right here, when we came down from this very top edge up here, we kind of rode this support level right here first, the 0.786 level, and then we ended up dropping down and we respected the next level even lower. As you guys can tell right there, this big candle going down, it literally stopped basically right at this next lower level right in here. And then we ended up, gaining some momentum going up a little bit. And then we ended up coming back down, and look at that again. Price ended up stopping right at that next Fibonacci level right there of 0.5, all right? And then as you guys can clearly tell, from there on, we kind of ended up just dumping hardcore. And as you can tell when we got down here, this was another key level right down in here, and we ended up respecting that level very nicely as well. As you can see, price action kind of hung out in that area for quite a while. And then the next layer, or the next level lower, the very bottom level, which is where we have our current bottom here, that is where we ended up stopping, and as you guys can clearly tell, it has respected this level as well. Now, moving upwards from this in this range, as you guys can clearly see, price ended up going up and reaching this first level right here, and it tried to go up to the second level, but it didn't have enough momentum, obviously, so it ended up coming back down. But as you can clearly see, this level was respected very, very nicely, as you guys can clearly tell right in here. So price didn't go any further below this level right in here, and instead it ended up going back up, and it respected this level right here as resistance. And since we didn't have enough momentum to cross above it, we ended up coming back down to this level again, and we respected this level once again, once more. And yeah, you kind of get the point as far as what I'm talking about here. So if you were trading this and you were thinking about taking profits, if you were trying to look for longs here from this point, from this bottom point on, what you want to do is you want to be looking at these various levels of resistance here, all right? So on the 1 hour chart here, as you guys can clearly tell, if you ended up entering a long at one of these support levels down here, then you would want to take profit at the next, or you would want to set your first take profit level, or just take all of your profits at the next resistance layer right up in here, all right? So you can do that. Obviously, as you guys can clearly see, this is a perfect example of that happening. So price ended up coming down. It stopped right in here at this support level because this turned into support. As soon as price ended up getting above this level right here, it turned it into support right here, okay? So when it came back down, it ended up hitting the support level. It ended up hanging out around it for quite a while, and then ended up going back up to this next layer of resistance. And that's where you would have wanted to set your take profit level, which is at that next resistance level right in there. So you would have profited from $142 up to $149 right in there, and you would have taken profit right there. So if you would have gotten in on that trade and you took profits, and you knew you were going to take profits right there beforehand, you would have made roughly around 5.3% without leverage. But if you were using leverage, let's just say for the sake of this video, for simplicity, we'll just use 10x leverage, you would have made roughly around 50% profit right there within 5 hours of trading. Now, the same is true if you would have shorted it going to the downside as well. So obviously, you don't want to go long on resistance. And obviously, if price action fails at resistance, then obviously it's a good time to short. So if you would have ended up shorting that, turning it around and shorting it down to this next layer of support down in here, you would have made roughly pretty much another 50% right there. So within a good 10-hour day, you could have made roughly a good 100% profits right there. All right. So that is overall what I'm talking about as far as taking profits at various support and resistance levels, okay? Now, if we go ahead and take the Fibonacci away and we go ahead and just look at it from, plain view, if you want to instead place your own support and resistance levels, you can. Obviously, the very top layer or the very, very top of this swing right here is going to be obviously resistance. And then down here at the very bottom, we've got our support level right in here. And then obviously right up in here, this could be considered a resistance area. And then up in here would be considered a resistance area. And then let's see here, we've got, technically you've got another area of resistance right in here too, but that's kind of still forming. So you've got another layer of support right in there. And as you guys can clearly see here, price is just kind of moving and flowing between these levels as we go on. Now at the bottom of this little area right here, we can count that as a support level as well, technically. And let's see here, and we can get the top of that one also, okay? So as you guys can clearly see, it might just look like I'm placing lines just kind of wherever, but that's realistically how it goes when you are placing your own support and resistance levels, okay? But realistically, a lot of the times, price does end up respecting these various resistance levels. But if you are drawing your own resistance level or support and resistance levels here, I would not suggest doing it on the same time frame that you're trading. So if you're trading on the 1 hour chart here and you want to draw your own support and resistance levels, what you actually want to do is you want to go out to the 4 hour chart and draw your support and resistance levels from there, okay? Because that will give a more accurate view when you go back into the 1 hour chart and trade based off of where those support and resistance levels are on the 4 hour chart, all right? Because the larger time frame that your support and resistance levels are on, the more accurate that they will be, all right? So outside of that, another way that you can find your support and resistance levels is a lot of people use their EMAs as well for dynamic support and resistance. So we will go ahead and turn on all of my EMAs here, which is going to be the 20 EMA, the 50 EMA, the 100 EMA, and the 200 EMA as well. And as you guys can clearly see right here, in this uptrend that we had going on right here, as you can clearly see, the 200 period or the 200 EMA worked out perfect right here in this example. It worked out, and as you guys can clearly see, momentum was not strong enough to go above it. Therefore, it acted as a good solid layer of key resistance right there, and it ended up going down from there. All right, and the same thing happened right in here as well, okay, with the 100 EMA. All right, so when we came up right in here, we ended up going up to the 100 EMA, but we didn't have enough momentum to breach above it and go towards the 200 EMA. Therefore, obviously, you can bet that it's going to go down, which it clearly did from there. And that's what I'm talking about overall here. Okay, so you want to take profits. If you want to use EMAs to take profits, you can as well. But realistically, overall, what I personally like to use the most is my horizontal support and resistance levels. But that's just me personally. But there's all kinds of different ways that you can do it. And yeah, that's just my personal way that I personally like to find my overall levels that I'm planning on taking profit on. All right. So the other way that you can go ahead and take profits as well outside of support and resistance levels is going to be a specified profit percentage as well. All right. And this is usually something that's predetermined before you actually enter the trade. Okay. So for instance, me, for example, I'm one of those types of people where what works best for me and my personal strategy is if I can make at least 10% in profits on a daily basis, then I am golden, all right? If I make 10% on a daily basis every single day consistently, then I'm feeling good about myself and I'm doing pretty darn good, all right? Because 10% a day, every single day, that equals out to, realistically, that equals out to about 50% profits every single week. That's about 200% in profits every single month, all right? Which is a darn good profit percentage, okay? So 10% profits every single day. This number is going to be different for every single person. It all depends on what works best for you, what you want your personal goal to be. But I like to use 10% because that's just usually what fits best for me and my overall personal strategy here, okay? So overall, guys, there's probably more other ways that people use to take profits. This is just my own personal way that I go about taking profits and what works best for me, all right? But regardless, having a plan for taking profits before you actually enter trades is something that you definitely want to make a habit of because it's a good habit to have so that you don't end up losing money due to greed and holding on to your trades for too damn long, all right? So make sure that you have a plan for taking profits before you enter your trades, all right? Now, before I go ahead and wrap up this video, if any of you guys are looking for a safe space to ask questions or talk about trading or anything like that, feel free to go ahead and reach out to me on X. You can find me at Garrett_N_stuff. And I will go ahead and send you an invite to my free community Discord server. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and got some decent value out of it, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit the like button below the video, and leave me a comment below on your personal thoughts of what you thought of this video. And with that said, for those of you guys who stuck around and watched this entire video throughout the whole thing, I appreciate all of you, and I hope to see you all in my future videos as well.